So thank you so much. It's been great to work with the colleagues here planning this PLA. For many of you, you've been to many PLAs before, so you've been on this journey with us for the last 2.5 years in our working group. For other people, we're happy to welcome some new faces in the room for their first PLA. So, our journey has taken us to lots of different places to look at lots of different topics in digital education. We started off in Hamburg looking at bring your own device policies in school. We were up in Finland looking at coding and computational thinking. We've had 2 PLAs on higher education and the particular challenges there, looking at supporting teachers for open, innovative and digital education in Zagreb and in Malta. We've looked at the topic of digital assessment in Tallinn and mobile learning and VEP 4.0 in Vienna. So lots of places, lots of interesting topics. I think digital resources is a really nice kind of complement to this, because in any of those topics you look at, you have the issue of resources, and the digital resources are there, whether they're videos or websites or quizzes or multimedia. We know they're out there, but the questions we'll be looking at is how to ensure that these resources amplify teaching, how can we ensure the quality of these digital resources, and how we can support teachers, not just the few teachers, but the many teachers to take up these resources and how they can meet learner needs. So I think it's really nice that we're here alongside this fair, and last night already we had a chance to speak to a lot of startups, a lot of very interesting organisations from France working in this space. So over the next day and a half we can kind of get to know this ecosystem of all these different players who are working together. So I just wanted to do a quick kind of who's in the room. We've got 20 countries here today. We have from Austria, we have Christian, that many of you know, joined by his colleague Sarah from the Education Ministry. From Belgium, we have Aurélien, and we've got Hans as well. Hans is going to speak later on the classement, and Aurélien will share with us what's happening in Wallonia. We have Sylvia from Bulgaria, who's next up on our stop. We're going to be in Sofia next month for a big presidency conference on digital creativity, which also matches nicely with the topic of digital resources. We have Ivan Pilny from the Czech Republic joining us for the first time. We have Katerina, a new colleague from Germany, from Berlin. You're very welcome, Katerina. We have 2 colleagues, Lisa and Diana, who've joined us from Estonia. Lisa works with Christelle at the Ministry of Education, and Diana is a teacher in Estonia. We have our colleague from Greece who's joining us a bit later today, Yanis. We have 2 colleagues from Spain, Jose Luis, who's joined us on many PLAs, and Alberto, who works particularly on digital resources. And then we have Sandra and Alan from Croatia as well. Sandra, who hosted our last PLA in Zagreb. We have Tamas, who's from Hungary, who's going to share with us a presentation on digital safety later on in our meeting. We have Alvida, who's here from Lithuania. Serge from Luxembourg. We're having some early discussions on possibly a PLA in Luxembourg coming up, maybe in the second half of this year. And we have Rafał, who's going to present a very interesting case from Poland on open educational resources. And we have a colleague of João from Portugal, Paula, who's joined us as well, another first-timer at one of our PLAs. And we have Boris from Slovenia, hey Boris, and Slavomir as well from Slovakia. And then we have 2 colleagues from FYROM, the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, Vlado and Vancho. We have Jan Peter from Norway. And we have many colleagues from our educational organisations we work with. For those of you and for the French colleagues who are new to our setup, about 2/3 of our group come from ministries of education, but we have 1/3 that come from social partners, so employer organisations and trade unions as well. So we have Dimitris Kuls, who works in CEDIFOP on vocational education and training. We have Ramon, who works in the higher education space for UNIS. And we have Frank, who's joined us from the ECDL, a fellow Irish person who's replacing Ostea. And we have Jens from the European Education Employers Association, also from Flanders. And we have Deborah Arnold and Andras joining us a little bit later. The colleagues from the Commission I introduced last night, Anuska's going to say a few words in a moment. Annika Ostergren has just come in the room. Hey, Annika, another colleague from DG Connect. Many of you know Annika because she's in charge of EU Code Week, which takes place in the autumn every year. Many of you have met her with her Code Week ambassadors. So that's a little bit of who's in the room. We also have a lot of colleagues who've joined us from Pascal's team. If you want to put your hands up, vous êtes le bienvenu aussi. Et ça passe en français, aucun problème. On peut faire les traductions.